Week 6 in the NFL season is here. We are now deep into Major League Baseball's playoffs because we're through the wild card round. And obviously, depending upon when you watch us, we may be a few games or even more than that into the divisional series and maybe even into the NL-ALCS at this point. It's Onorato Company. It's Chris Onorato. It's Ashley Miller. We've got a ton to get to in terms of the NFL, things to react to that are still lingering from Week 5. Matchups, of course, with the Pick Six Vodka Pick in Week 6. Saratoga Eagle President and CEO Jeff Vukelic will join the show to take his crack at bettering 500. That's all he's got to do.
We're not very good.
Then 500 in order to knock out the top spot in terms of either a local business partner of the show or a local nonprofit rep as well, Ash.
Yeah, we haven't been very good. No one has set the world on fire here with our picks. But I certainly am bringing up the caboose here. So, I mean, 500 would be a dream for me.
That's where I'm sitting. It's still early. It is absolutely still early. Let's get things going.
This is Onorato Company. Brought to you by Albany House.
Shout out to all of our local business partners on the show: Alpen House, Andy Heck, Katie Osborne, Amsterdam, Clifton Park as well. All right, here's my first question just to start the show, Ash. I want to know, out of what we've seen so far in this NFL season, which team is the bigger surprise? Is it the 4-1 Giants or the 3-2 Jets? Both coming off wins going into their Week 6 matchups.
I think for me, it's the 4-1 Giants, only because they've had their quarterback the entire time. This is year 1 of Brian Daboll. This is year 2 of Robert Saleh. They haven't had Zach Wilson the entire time.
So the Jets or the Giants?
The Giants.
Okay.
I think it's the Giants.
But doesn't it make it the Jets because they didn't have Zach Wilson the whole time?
No, they're 3-2. It's not like they're 5-0. And
Okay.
yeah, I just think it's year 1 of Daboll. For as bad as they've looked the last 2 years, the Jets, we saw glimpses last year of good things. And you thought, okay, if they get Zach Wilson back, maybe they can be good. I'm not sure that people thought the Giants were going to be as different a team. They've already matched their win total in Week 5 from all of last season. So for me, that's the biggest surprise. I think we kind of thought, all right, maybe the Jets start trending in the right direction. I don't think we thought the Giants are going to be 4-1.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's the Jets here. I know we liked their draft, but when I looked at their first 6 games, I thought, even if everybody's healthy, this could be 1-5 team. And here they are 3-2. And I would say a good opportunity even to win on Sunday. We'll break that down in the Pick Six Vodka Pick 'em, why I think the Jets have a good shot at Lambeau on Sunday. But if you said to me after the first 6, the Jets could be 3-3 or 4-2, I would have said no chance. So I don't know. Based on the schedules, the Giants has been softer. So I wouldn't have said they'd be 4-1, but I'm not surprised that they've won some of the games they've won. I am surprised that the Jets have been able to win some of the games they've won, even, with Joe Flacco in the reins. Jay Mance watching. Good morning to you. Jason Pulatsky. Carol's watching as well. Good morning. Sam is checking in too. And Nick says it's the Jets for him. David, we'll get to your Bills here in a second, man. No doubt about that. Okay, so that's the question: is which team is the bigger surprise here?
For both
Giants or the Jets? Which team would have the more surprising Week 6 win for you? The Giants against the Ravens or the Jets against the Packers?
I'll probably still go Jets against the Packers. But that's a tough one for me because the Packers haven't been as good as they should be, nor have the Ravens, I don't think. And both New York teams have overachieved. So I wouldn't be surprised if either one wins those games, but I think I'd be more surprised if the Jets go to Lambeau and beat Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Yeah, obviously the Packers have been underwhelming, to say the least. I'm still not panicked yet.
No.
I would have liked to have seen only September kind of be that preseason month, if you will. It's lingering well into October now at this point, the second Sunday in October, but I'm not panicking just yet on what's going on with the Green Bay. Yeah, Nick, listen, man, you don't give away my pick here. That number is 7.5. I don't believe the Packers right now could beat anybody by more than a touchdown. We also, what Davante Adams did post-game in what was a frustrating Monday night loss at Arrowhead. They had a 17-0 lead in the second quarter. Opportunities even late to win that game, or at least tie the darn game, going for 2 when they should have kicked the extra point to make it 30-30. Aside from all that, Adams takes out his 1-4 frustrations on a poor videographer, photographer who's just trying to get somewhere else on the field. I did see one angle where it looked like it was more bang than the front angle of Adams walking at us. It was from behind Adams, and it did look like almost a collision at an intersection. Now, that said, he didn't simply just walk into the guy and knock him over. It was a full-on, out of my way, dude. Yeah. I am coming through. Guy goes tumbling to the ground. He's pressing charges, assault on Davante Adams. But the question here I have, Ash, is does Davante Adams deserve to be suspended for his post-game shove?
No, and I don't think he deserves to have charges filed, but that's not my decision. That's the guy that he pushes decision. I wouldn't personally have done it, but at the same time, I feel like you can't just go around doing whatever you want. So if you're not going to suspend him and you're not going to bring charges, then what do? Do you fine him? Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I just think, like, again, and I don't think you're wrong. I've seen the other angle too. It's more of like he kind of cuts in front of him. But when you get into the two-handed shove, and listen, I've been the person carrying a camera who gets like hit by somebody much bigger than me, and the momentum takes you. It's not a fun time. So when you get the two-handed shove, it's just a little over the top. I always say, like, these guys, and I understand this is your living, but they take it so seriously, and it's almost like life and death. Like, no one has died. I know you're 1-4, but you're making a lot of money. You wanted to go to the Raiders. Like, that's on you.
Okay, but hang on. We've all been there where we've lost a game we didn't want to lose. And are we good sports about it all the time? No. Now, I'm not saying.
But I've never shoved someone over it. I've never cursed
that.
at anyone. I've never yelled at someone over it. I mean, some of us are more level-headed than others, but no, I'm not going to put myself in the same category. I also haven't played in any games as important as Davante Adams.
Yeah, that's fair. Adam, who is a Cowboys fan,
good luck.
I mean, for the people who remember the Randy Johnson on his arrival in New York, dealing with a New York cameraman when Johnson became a New York Yankee, that was an ugly look.
He's also now a video. Have you seen him? Have you seen the pictures of him? Randy Johnson is a professional photographer. He's shooting at NFL games.
Amazing.
That's why he's saying that, because there's a picture of him like shooting, and he's this like,
I had no idea.
10 guy, like, and I think that's part of it. Like, good luck shoving him over. First of all, you shove him over, he's going to get up and take a swing at you.
So the irony here is that Johnson shoved
now on the other end,
and now I didn't know that. Okay.
Now on the other end.
Very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
All right, the last item to get to here from week 5.25 is Matt Rule has been fired by the Carolina Panthers. He's 2+ seasons in. They haven't made the playoffs in a while. I think it's like one appearance in the last 6 years. But he was sought after highly by both Carolina and the Giants. Remember, the Giants we were kind of
Yep.
killing the Giants. I was anyway. I was doing sports talk radio at the time. Like, how do you let this one get away from you? You've made him your number one priority in terms of hiring a head coach. You didn't make him an offer strong enough. You allowed him to go to Carolina for an interview with David Tepper. You should have made sure this guy never got on a plane to leave the Meadow. Blah 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 blah.
The Giants did okay.
Well, 2+ years in, Rule is out of Carolina.
Well, sure.
The Joe Judge experiment did not
Correct.
go well. However,
No, it didn't.
the Giants screwed up so badly
Yeah.
that they were able to move on more quickly.
Yep.
So because
And then they got it right, we think.
yeah, right. And I agree. Dable, I think, is a terrific hire. I think that will work out. Anyway, 7 years and $62 million.
This is unbelievable. I saw a tweet yesterday. Matt Rule, every month for the next 4 years of his life, sitting on a couch or maybe coaching somewhere else, is going to make $834,000 a month.
Boy,
I
don't know
mean,
if that's going to cover the mortgage.
everybody, it was so funny. It's like
Heating
the
bills
best
are going
job in
up.
the world is being a fired NFL coach or a
Of
fired
course.
college coach. Like Ed
It's-
Orgeron is living it up, taking his money. Like $40 million you're going to pay this guy over the next 4 years to walk. That's why you don't sign those contracts, the 7-year, $72 million variety.
You're saying it, Sam. You're saying it.
I agree.
We're
He's not in
hearing
a great situation.
You're not wrong. If you don't have a quarterback in this league, you will not win. Period. Belichick, yes, got to the playoffs last year with a rookie quarterback. They got pounded.
Mhm.
If you don't have, I don't care who you are, find me a coach that has won either a good amount of games or playoff games or a championship without a quarterback, save for the historically dominant defenses of all time.
Yeah.
Like
Like the
Brad
Ravens
Johnson
and
with the Bucs.
Flacco.
Look at what
Dilfer.
I mean, look, Flacco had a great postseason.
Yeah, no, I know.
The Trent Dilfer example plays
Dilfer.
here with the Ravens' dominant defense. Jim McMahon maybe in Chicago in '85, fine, but I'm telling you, I don't care who you are as a coach,
you can't.
it's not going to work if you don't have a quarterback. Period. But I think there are people out there who are like, oh, well, clearly he's fired after 2+ years. He shouldn't have left Baylor. Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
The
How much?
Baylor situation was bad.
$844,000 a month.
834.
I will leave my job and I will go take a job that they dismiss me 2 years later and be just fine. I mean, come on.
I mean, for $40 million, he can literally retire. He doesn't have to ever work again.
It's what we say about coaches who leave, like the Siennas and Albany. You cannot say no to this. I mean, it's not this kind of money, but you can't say no to money that just swings the pendulum so dramatically. You just can't. You can't. Be foolish to. Absolutely foolish to. All right, let's take a quick break here on Onorato and Company. When we come back on the show, we've got the Performance Industrial Dirty Difficult Duns to get to with a tie-in to the Major League Baseball postseason. We've got still more NFL on the way, of course, with our picks. And we've got the Albany FireWolves weekly segment. The head coach, Glenn Clark, is going to join the show coming up in a little bit. That's all still ahead here on Onorato and Company. Back right after this.
Happiness is found in simple things. The sun on your face, sharing laughs, at the campground, getting wet, relaxing together, the love of family. There's never been a better time to go outside and play. Alpenhaus Pool Spa Boat and RV, bringing families together and creating memories since 1964.
The Pack is back. The Albany FireWolves professional indoor lacrosse team returns to the Capital Region and MVP Arena this December. Get your tickets now for our season home opener when we take on UAlbany lacrosse legend Connor Fields and the Rochester Nighthawks on Saturday, December 17th at 7 p.m. Season tickets, flex plans, family packs, and game tickets are on sale now at albanyfirewolves.com. Join the Pack!
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
Okay, Ash, we'll get to the baseball, but as we transition from football, one into the other here, let's get into our performance industrial dirty, difficult, done.
And now, Dirty, Difficult, and Done. Presented by Performance Industrial.
Shout out to Bill Miller and his team, South Glens Falls and Albany. Great things that Bill and his group does for the American Cancer Society this time of year. Real Men Wear Pink. Hello. He has raised tens of thousands of dollars already this year with some of the great things he does. All right, Ash, you are up first, as always, with Performance Industrial's Dirty, Difficult, Done.
I'm not alone here. I don't think this has been, aside from Devontae Adams has run sports talk radio and television for the last week here, but I'm done with soft roughing the passer penalties. And at first we thought it was only this guy because it always happens to Tom Brady. He always gets the benefit of the doubt, maybe you call it, or people just treat him like a king. And every time he gets thrown down, like with Grady Jarrett, which was not a roughing the passer penalty, a flag gets thrown. Well, to me, I think what was more egregious, in my opinion, was the roughing the passer penalty called against Chris Jones, who threw down this guy, Derek Carr. I think it was more egregious because when you force a fumble on a play, it almost is like all bets are off to me. Like when you come in, you hit the ball loose, and he didn't take him down all that hard anyway. But when the ball comes loose and there's a turnover, it feels like all bets are off. The Brady thing, there was no turnover involved. He just took him down, and he didn't even really throw him. He just kind of placed him down. But I'm done with soft roughing the passer penalties. I understand protecting the quarterback. I understand keeping away from a quarterback's knees to avoid injuries like Brady had the one year. I get that. I get no hits to the head. It's already hard enough to hit someone from the shoulders to the waist. Now where it's like, it's too hard. You threw him down too hard. You hit him the wrong way. I've had enough. They know what they're signing up for.
Brady rule, you can't hit him low. I'm good with that. That stems back to whatever year that was. Matt Castle had to take over for Brady after week one. Can't hit a quarterback low. Can't hit him high. We get it. It's head to head. That's kind of, we're all on board with, can't hit him high. You can't land with your full body weight on the guy. That is kind of the Rodgers rule here. He broke his collarbone a number of times because defenders were landing with full body weight on the court. Can't do that anymore. Okay.
I think that's a weird rule because that's very difficult. Like, I understand, but it's rather difficult to, as a defender.
It's kind of you can't drive them into the ground.
Yeah, and I get that. That's different to me than landing with your full body weight. Listen, if you land on the guy, it's all of your body weight.
Grady Jarrett did everything you're supposed to do.
Correct.
He wrapped him up. It was a little bit of he just kind of rolled.
Like swung him, yeah.
He just kind of rolled with him.
But
like
he didn't
on a wrestling
him.
mat. He
Yeah.
just kind of, let me take you for a little bit of a ride. That's what he did.
Yep.
You can't do it any better. That is what NFL officials should send to teams as an example of, hey, we know you can't hit them low. You can't hit them high. You can't drive them to the ground. This is how you'd sack a quarterback now. The whipping action that we saw in that Thursday night game between Cincinnati and Miami that knocked Tua out, that didn't draw a flag.
Right.
I mean, so I understand. At least we have the Carr example too, that we're all not just bashing, referees' inclination to side with Brady every time there's something questionable. But I'm with you, Ash. This has gotten bad. Now, Troy Aikman put it in different verbal terms that people are like, oh, he's a misogynist. He's not. He's a former football player who's frustrated with the way the game is being officiated. Now, he's not wrong. You may not have liked what he said, and that's fine, but he's not wrong.
Yeah. No, and that's a guy that didn't have the benefit of those rules.
Oh, my God.
You know what I mean? Like, that guy got whipped and thrown and hit in the head and hit in the knees and hitting all over the place because he didn't have the benefit of those rules.
Yep. All right, my dirty, difficult done takes us into the world of baseball here, and my done here is Jacob deGrom's time in Queens. He is going to, I could be wrong on all this, but he's going to opt out. It'd be foolish for him not to. But now that he's in his mid-30s, I think the Mets are ready to say, hey, you've had a great career with us, but we haven't done anything with you here. And I also think deGrom thinks, I've had a great career, but I haven't done anything here. And there are enough examples of great pitchers who have gone on to success elsewhere. So I think deGrom is looking at the situation like, if I come back, are we any better next year? No, I'm down on the Mets next year because I think deGrom is done. I think there's a good chance Brandon Nimmo leaves. Edwin Diaz is going to be throwing a lot of money as well. Like the Mets are in a tough spot here to be better for next year. And by better, I don't mean more regular season wins. I mean deeper into the postseason.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening. Do you want to believe Max Scherzer is going to be better at 38, 39 years old? Not me. So I'm deGrom. I'm looking at the whole picture here. I'm opting out because I can get a longer term contract and more money per year. And
a lot of money.
25 a year. He'll get more.
30.
No, deGrom's 25. Scherzer is like, we can look at it, but I think he signed.
I just looked up his spot track. He's scheduled to make 30.5 next year, 32.5. I know it can change based on deferred money and.
Okay, I'm doing the averages of the 4-year,
I gotcha.
120 or whatever it was.
But yeah.
Okay.
So when we're looking at but that's what I mean. Like, is he going to make significantly more than 30 a year? Maybe he'll make 35.
Yeah, no, but maybe it's just a longer term deal then. Okay. Yeah, I just think he feels like there's a better situation out there. And honestly, I think the Mets are going to be more than willing to let him walk, where they say, hey, look, you've been great, but look at the starts he had down the stretch. He had some bad starts down the stretch.
So did Scherzer.
I know, but they can't do anything about Scherzer.
I know.
Scherzer's locked in. I think if Scherzer were willing to opt out, they might say bye-bye to him too. Yeah.
I have a hard time believing they're not going to try to keep him. I mean, I get it. If he opts out, they can't do anything about it. And I mean, I know he can re-sign whatever. But he's been the best pitcher in baseball when he has played. Hands down.
That's part of it too. Missed half of last year, missed half of this year.
Yep.
What am I paying for? What's the durability here? Is it worth risking him into his mid-30s and late 30s? Yeah.
I get it.
I know Steve Cohen is willing to spend all kinds of money. I think he becomes a little more prudent with this decision, though.
Yeah. Listen, I think we're quick to blame the pitchers because they've been so good. And we all said this from the very beginning. This is a team that if Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom are your 1-2, your 2-1, and they're healthy and they're themselves, they have the best chance to make a run through the postseason. Those guys weren't themselves, but you can't get shut out in one hit in a deciding game 3 of an NLDS series. You can't do it. So there are more problems than just that. I think the Mets will be fine.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Was it a failure? This 101 wins. Was this a failure?
Isn't it wild? I'm going to say no. I'm not a Mets fan, so I'm going to say no. From an outsider's perspective, the Mets making the playoffs, nearly winning the division, and winning 101 games, to me, for a Mets team, that's a success. But I understand when you sign a guy like Scherzer, it was kind of like World Series or bust. We talked about it. So from a Mets fan perspective, it is a failure. From an outsider's perspective, I do not feel like it's a failure. You also have to give it more than 1 year. Like, this is not a 1-year experiment. I understand it could be because if deGrom goes, now you're kind of blowing things up. But to me, it's not a failure.
Top 4 or 5 payroll in all of baseball. I'm with you. I think the return to the postseason was a good enough step this year for them.
Had they not had a 10.5 game lead in the division and blown it, I think Mets fans would feel differently. So had they just been competitive all year long in the division, or had they erased a 10.5 game lead in the division, I think people feel differently. I really do.
Now look at this from Sam. I hope he's kidding. Buck Showalter makes a world of difference.
He's the best manager in baseball, Buck Showalter. He's done it with every team out there. Wow. Every time he's been hired has been a good decision by that team.
Best manager in baseball.
I think so.
Okay. His run with the Rangers was not pretty, but he did good things in Baltimore.
Yep.
Look, I when they
And
made
I
the
think
hire, I
he's
thought finally you now have an
Yep.
adult in the room. This was a good hire.
He's a
Yes.
player's manager. From what you see out there, like a guy like Francisco. Did you see the press conference with Francisco
Yep.
Lindor and his
Yep.
daughter the
Yep.
other night? To me, that tells me all I need to know about his players and how his players' families feel about him. I think it's a great hire. He's the guy. I'm not sure how much longer he's going to manage in the majors, but I think he's the guy.
Okay, quickly here, because we're going to be in between with the Yankees series. I don't even want to get too much into it as we
Yep.
sit here live on a Thursday. If you're watching us on TV Saturday or Sunday, feel free to jump in with us live on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The weather does not look good for Thursday's game 2, so maybe everything kind of gets pushed and we're sliding a little bit deep into the weekend. But Yankees have won 6 straight games against Cleveland. Can't call them the Indians or the Guardians because it spans back to 2017's ALDS, but 6 straight postseason wins against Cleveland for the Yankees. The dominance has continued here. You got to be buoyed a little bit by the way Cole pitched.
Yep.
And Cortez going in game 2. I think the series was always kind of in the Yankees' favor, and you worry about Houston, right?
Yeah, listen, I think unbelievably Cole was kind of a question mark because of the way that he's pitched. He's given up home runs when he shouldn't. And so I think Yankees were waiting for that kind of performance in the postseason. He gives up 1 earned. You can't ask for much more than that. Yep. That was what they got Garrett Cole for. And I feel better about the way Nestor Cortez and Luis Severino are pitching recently than the way he was. So I feel pretty confident going into 2 and 3 if I'm the Yankees with the 2 guys that they have going. And now that you've got a 1-0 lead, you have a little bit of a buffer and you can figure things out the rest of the way.
Okay, quick break here. When we come back, the NFL Pick'em still ahead. Jeff Vukelic, the president and CEO of Saratoga Eagle, is ready to go to give his picks. Ash and I will run through the games, and then we'll bring on the diehard Buffalo Bills fan and one of the best businessmen in the capital region and beyond, because they go far from the 518 as well. We're back right after this on Onorato Company.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through product and purpose. Claim your crown.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Albany House.
Okay, Ash, as painful as it is, it's that time to see how we're doing. Not
Oh my God.
Not great.
No, awful is more what you meant to say by my standards. You are not great, but I'm awful.
Not great. 3 and 3 puts me back down to 500. That's 2 and 4 though is a win up from last week though.
Yeah, great.
So build the momentum. Let's get it going here.
And now your weekly NFL Pick'em. Presented by Pick Six Vodka.
All right, week 6, and this is an interesting game. Giants are 5.5-point dogs at home. You know what I say about home dogs? I like them a lot. And even as good as even as dangerous as Lamar Jackson is, we're both on the Giants here. You have faded the Giants the last couple of weeks at least, and now you're on Big Blue.
Yeah, and I think it's worked out for me more than it hasn't. I'm pretty sure. I got a Cowboy.
Last week.
What's that?
They covered last. Oh no, you had the Giants.
I
last
did
week.
take the Giants last week. Yeah.
The Packers.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
That was one of my 2 wins. I'm on the Giants. I think, listen, I've been more impressed defensively even than with what they've done offensively. Daniel Jones has been serviceable, which is all they need from them. Saquon Barkley has been really good, but I think Wink Martindale has done with that defense what others couldn't do and what he brings to the table. They put a lot of pressure on teams. They bring a lot of different looks and blitz packages. I think their defense has been really, really good. Containing Lamar Jackson, if he's going to try to run, that's a whole different beast, but I'm going with Big Blue.
Billy Blake, I see you threw a question at me baseball-wise. You're still with us. I'm going to get to that, believe me, before the end of the show. I'm on the Giants here too. Maybe not to win, but I think they're good enough to keep that game close. Jets and Packers here. I said this towards the top of the show. 7.5 was way too big a number for me. I haven't seen anything out of Green Bay. One, offensively, they're going to score enough to beat a team by more than a touchdown. 2, that defense in the second half against the Giants was brutal. I think Breece Hall might have a huge game. Barkley had a good game. I think Breece Hall might have a huge game. He had 196 yards from scrimmage last week. Look out for Breece Hall at Lambeau Field. Wilson will do enough in the pass game that I think not only will the Jets cover, I'm not going to be floored if they win this game. Now, I'm not going to pick them to win, but I won't be floored. They will definitely cover.
Okay. I think Breece Hall is one of the best young players in the league at this point, but back to Lambeau for a Packers team who's probably a little bit frustrated. I think Zach Wilson makes mistakes that Aaron Rodgers does not make.
Aaron Rodgers is ticked off. He does not like the way people are
happy.
talking in that locker room. Patriots and Browns here. Cleveland, 2.5-point favorite. We both think that the Browns will win by at least a field goal. I think Nick Chubb has a big day. Vikings, Dolphins, the last of the 1:00 games we're looking at here. Minnesota on the road as 3.5. We don't know who's playing quarterback for Miami at this point. So when I was making this pick earlier in the week, I'm like, I don't know what to do with this because it could be Tua, it could be Teddy, but I'll just go with the sure thing here. And I know Minnesota's offense is good enough to win by more than a field goal.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It was a matter of like, is it Bridgewater? If it's Bridgewater, maybe I pick differently there because I like him enough, but we don't know. So
now we're both on the Bills. This is interesting because this feels like the hump game. And we'll talk with Jeff Vukelic, the president and CEO of Saratoga Eagle, who's from Western New York and now doing big things in the 518 with Saratoga Eagle. He is a diehard Bills fan. This is the hump game, right? Like this, hey, Bills, if you are different this year, I know it's only a regular season game, but this is the one they haven't really been able to win at Kansas City. If this year is different, this is the one I've got to see you win 2 4-1 teams.
I agree. But if they lose, I'm not going to lose my mind.
I know.
It's the regular season.
Sky is falling more than you do. Cowboys and Eagles here, the Sunday nighter on News Channel 13. Philly favored by 5.5. You are still rolling with Cooper Rush.
I'm still, because he's giving us no reason not to. So I told you I'm going to roll with the Cowboys until they give me a reason not to. I know the Eagles have been pretty good in that department too. But last week, to me, we saw some flaws in the Eagles. And I just like this Dallas team is ridiculous. And what Cooper Rush has done has been ridiculous. So I'm going with him.
Dallas's defense is awesome. You said the pass rush is incredible. Trayvon Diggs has been excellent in the secondary, but I don't think they've faced an offense. I know they haven't faced an offense like the one in Philly. So I'm going to roll with the Eagles there. All right, let's get to our guest here in this Pick'em segment, and that is our good buddy Jeff Vukelic from Saratoga Eagle. Jeff, man, it's good to see you. You're rocking the Bills gear. I'm not surprised, man. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing? I even rocking a Bills hat.
Ooh,
wow.
Look at this. I love
That's impressive. Do you have
amazing?
I have a cheese head do you have one of the chicken wing heads hats?
I know I can find one.
Yeah, they're out there. Those things are pretty cool.
Those are cool.
Jeff, we're going to Bills Packers in a few weeks, couple weeks.
Awesome.
I'll be wearing Bills stuff because I'm smart. Chris will be wearing whatever he's going to wear for his
I might go neutral.
Chris, are you going to put on put on the colors?
I don't know. You know what? I've been to a Bills game before and I wore Packers gear. And honestly, the fans were more than friendly enough. They won that day, so that was, they were probably happy about beating Brett Favre.
Real fans put on the colors no matter where they are. So I would expect you to put on your colors.
That's a challenge.
That is a challenge.
That is
down. Yeah. All right, Jeff. Here's what you are up against, my friend. And I think I told you it's not exactly tough treading. You just have to be better than 500. And really, in this department, your competition is Andy Heck, your friend from Alpen House, and Nick Matalone from Marcellus Appliance Center, because as Ashley has determined, the local business partner with the best record will get dinner on the two of us. So that would be your prize at the end of all this.
Love it. I love it. Thank you. I think I can better those records.
Okay.
It's been tough. The NFL has not been easy this year.
No.
As is evidenced by my 10-20 record.
Let's get into it here, though. We are all on the Giants here, Jeff. Why do you like Big Blue Sunday?
I really like Big Blue if you think about it. Their general manager and their coach came from the Buffalo Bills. Very simple, right? And they're bringing that winning tradition and that winning attitude to the team. I mean, Brian Daboll, look what he's done with that team already. And actually, to your point on defense, I mean, look what they're doing there on defense in that team. Yeah. So they got a great running game. They got a pretty good quarterback. He just needs some seasoning. And I think that obviously the Giants should beat the Ravens.
Jeff, speaking of wearing colors, Chris hasn't worn the Green Bay colors at all in his picks, but I'd like you to know, great minds think alike. I'm gonna get on your level because all of our picks are exactly identical.
Right, look at that.
That is unusual, isn't it?
It is. Oh, I saw your email come in, and I said to Chris, I'm like, I think we have the same exact picks.
Yeah.
What do you like? Why the pack? Is it just the return to Lambeau?
Yeah, hey, listen, they got beat last week, right? I think there's a little bit, hey, listen, they got something to prove. Mm-hmm. And Rodgers, that guy, he's a competitor, right? And I don't think he's going to go back home and lose against the Jets, especially, hey, listen, they're up and coming, the Jets. They're playing well, but I don't think it's well enough to beat the Packers at home.
Now, is this the Bills fan in you just picking against Belichick, or do you really like the Browns in this spot?
Just the Bills fan in me picking against Belichick. I don't care if they were playing the worst team in the NFL. I wouldn't pick the Patriots. I've been beaten down pretty bad from all those fans, and I have a lot of respect for them. Hey, listen, they had the greatest quarterback of all time. I'll give them that. And listen, 6 Super Bowls, but you can't beat it. So, yeah.
I can really appreciate picking against the Patriots. I don't always do it, but I should do it more often.
I know you can, Ash. All right, we've got 3 more games.
I think you should. Your record would be better if you did that.
You're right.
3 more games to go here in the NFL Pick'em. We're back right after this on Onorato Company.
I don't care what kind of stories that's been told on you. That may be a lot of things in life you used to do. If you can't give true love to me, I'll understand. Just do the best you can.
Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs and 95 calories.
And now back to Onorato and Company, brought to you by Alpen House.
All right, here we go. We keep things going here with the NFL Pick'em with Jeff Vukelic from Saratoga Eagle, president and CEO there. Jeff, back to the picks here, and Ash, game 4 is Minnesota Miami.
Yeah, Jeff, you're with us. I mean, we don't know who's playing quarterback in Miami. That was our biggest conundrum for Chris and I. Same for you?
Same for me. Absolutely. Yeah, they're struggling there for sure.
If I set the spread between the Bills and the Chiefs at 22.5, would you have even thought twice about picking Buffalo?
No.
I love it. But really, why the Bills here? I may have overstated this game in Kansas City the way you're looking at it, Jeff, but I feel like if this is a different Bills team,
it is, and I'll go back to the game that they lost there in the playoff. Never the look on Allen's face, or just he stood there, he just kind of took in that moment, and it just it left an impression on him. and he has something to prove, right? And this will be the game where he proves it. And I'll just give you two stats, right? 91. That's the point differential that the Bills have in the NFL. They lead the points in the NFL by 91, and 269. That's the number of receptions that Stephon Diggs has had since he joined the Bills, only second behind Cooper Kupp, who's got 286.
Okay. Bringing the numbers to support the pick. I like it. Well, like the Bills anyway here too, Ash.
Yeah, last game, Jeff is with me. You're on the Eagles. Jeff and I are on the boys. Jeff, are you surprised? I mean, who's not surprised by what Cooper Rush is doing?
Yeah, and I like what you said earlier. I mean, Cooper. I mean, you gotta. There's something special there, and you gotta ride that as long as you can. And I just think, listen, he's got 0 turnovers, 0 interceptions. He's going into that game, and hey, listen, the Eagles are bound to lose. They always lose at some point, even in the playoffs. So this is their week to lose at home.
Yeah, right. At some point, they're not going to finish the year undefeated. So you pick your spot in terms of where they end up losing. Okay, all right. So Ash, your record will be the same as Jeff's at the end of it all.
I do.
I guess
4-2 or above.
That's right, Jeff. 4-2 or above.
I love it. I can do it.
Now, we haven't said where we're going to take the winner to dinner.
Right. Maybe it's their pick.
Oh, I like that. That's better.
That's an even better idea. I like that. Yeah,
that's
winner's pick.
All right, Jeff, we'll let you get back to it, man. Thank you for taking the time out on this Thursday to hang with us. And as always, thank you for the support on the show here. It's been great to have Saratoga Eagles part of the fam.
Thank you. Great to be with you. Go Bills.
Yeah,
there it is. There it is. That's going to be a great game. I love that it's the 4:25 on Sunday.
Of course you do, because you can watch it.
Right.
I'm
if it was a Sunday night.
A little surprised it's not the Sunday night game, but I'm glad that you can watch it.
Yeah, me too. All right, quick timeout here. When we come back, we get into our weekly Albany FireWolves segment. We've got questions still to answer in terms of baseball playoffs. Billy Blake threw one out at me that I definitely want to get to. We've got all that still ahead on the show. You guys are watching Onorato and Company.
You've heard of unsung heroes. The men and women of Niscoba are the unseen heroes. For the past year, you've learned about our many charitable endeavors. Now it is my privilege to share with you the work performed by our members, the 20,000 state correction and law enforcement officers shielded from view. They work in difficult and dangerous conditions and are an extension of the police who protect our neighborhoods. Niscoba honors New York's police and firefighters and salutes its own members who help deliver a peaceful night's sleep.
Fire, water, smoke, mold, and sewage cleanup. Reconstructing your home after a disaster can be both stressful and demanding. KPM Restoration will work quickly to restore your home. We'll help provide complete damage restoration to your property.
My problem was that I was traveling. There was a leak in my basement. We called KPM. They came in at 9 o'clock at night and were there till 2 o'clock in the morning until the problem was solved.
KPM Restoration. We'll get you back to normal.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Albany House.
All right, Ash, some questions here from a couple of viewers. Billy Blake wants to know, and I know we're dating ourselves here, but let me throw it up here. This is a Friday afternoon game 3 for my Atlanta Braves in a series that is currently tied at a game apiece. Who do I think will start for the Braves in game 3? Who do I want to start game 3 on the road in Philadelphia? The answer is the same, Charlie Morton. I think Charlie Morton will start, and that is exactly who I want to start. This is a guy with a proven postseason track record. The Braves have said they're going to give him another $20 million next year. You can't do that with a guy you don't feel confident starting in a postseason series in a pivotal game 3. I'm sorry, you just can't. I understand Spencer Strider got a big contract as well, but Strider hasn't pitched since September 18th with that oblique injury. Now, I think he's healthy enough to go. I'm not worried about that. He should start game 4. I wouldn't rush Max Fried. Even if the Braves are down 2-1, I would not rush Max Fried back to pitch game 4. So in my mind, Morton, Strider, and then maybe there's a game 5, and if there is, it'll be Freed again at home. So I'm on Charlie Morton to start this game 3.
I thought you would say Morton and then Strider. I thought you would say you think Morton, you want Strider, but I can appreciate that. Listen, John Smoltz said last night he thought it should be Morton. He wanted it to be Morton because of the same reason you said. He's got proven postseason success. He shows up in the big game. He's done it before. Spencer has not done that.
Yeah, and look, Strider's numbers against Philadelphia are excellent. But here's how I play it. Strider's been great against Philly. Okay. Well, he's either in game 4 going to be in a position to save the season or win the series.
Yep.
That you can't lose with that type of thing. So let me wait on Strider, and
I get that.
Good enough for me. All right, Ash, we will do a little bit of NBA before the end of the show, but before we even get into that, because the NBA season starts. I mean, we're here on a Thursday. It'll tip off on Tuesday, and we'll see Kevin Herter in different colors.
God bless you.
Excuse me. I've never done that before on live TV or even a podcast. That has never happened to me before. That is an absolute first. Excuse me.
Well, congratulations.
I was so close to just doing this to get me off screen, and then I could introduce our Follow the Pack segment with the head coach, Glenn Clark from the Albany FireWolves, with us here on Onorato and Company. Ash, the season is not all that far off, as you know, someone who covers the sidelines and this team on a weekly basis. Training camp is coming, and we've got the head coach with us here on Onorato and Company. Not the first time we've had the pleasure of speaking with Coach Clark. Coach, it's good to see you, man. I'll laugh when I say, how's the offseason been? Because there's really no offseason for you with all the coaching and clinics you do, and then obviously putting this team kind of back together.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's been a while. So I actually spent my off season on the west coast of Canada coaching junior lacrosse out there, which turned out to be fruitful. We signed a few free agents from the west coast and are now living in market. So that kept me busy throughout the summer, and then free agency in the draft. And as you've noticed, we've made quite a few changes. So yeah, it's an exciting time.
Clarky, and you're in Albany now, right?
I am.
How are you enjoying it?
Pardon me?
How are you enjoying it?
We're loving it. We came down. The plan started taking shape January, February of this year, and we had already committed to going out west. So April till August, we were on the west coast of Canada, and then the end of August, we moved down and got the kids. My two younger ones are in school in the area. Goodness. And playing hockey, playing lacrosse, playing basketball. So we're getting embedded. I'm in men's league hockey, so we're getting embedded in the community. It's been great.
You're probably running the show, playing with all these Americans who can't play hockey.
No, it's great. I found a couple of great skates. It's been good. It's been fantastic.
That's awesome. Clark, you mentioned all of the movement in the offseason, and we talked to George last week, George Manius, about the different look of this team, and it's going to look different. You lose a guy like Joe Rez, he goes to Philly, and then that sort of creates this domino effect. And George said, after that happened, we made it our mission to just go get younger. The trades kept coming, and I think my jaw hit the floor every time. When you're the guy that's kind of making those moves, what was your thought process behind, a guy like Rouet? These are all guys, Andrew Q, guys that you really felt strongly about, but obviously felt good about bringing other guys in place of them.
Yeah, and they were all individual. Joe, obviously, we didn't want to lose in free agency. We did everything we could to keep him, and it didn't work out. But you take a guy like Jacob Rouet, who we loved and I loved having on our group. He moved, he relocated to where I was actually in the summer, the west coast of Canada, on not only in BC, but he was on Vancouver Island. And I mean, I've done that travel. It's essentially 2 days to get here, because by the time you get to Toronto or the East Coast, you have layovers. So it was just going to be way too difficult for him. And him and I had that dialogue, and I certainly didn't want to move him, but it was just, in some ways we are a geography based league when players live out of market. And I mean, he's about as far out of market as you could have been. So it just wouldn't have worked. Like there's no way he could have done it. So we were able to get Nishimura back.
Yeah. Jackson back, who I know you like.
Great, because we didn't want to lose him, and we were very disappointed and tried hard for a long time to get him back. So that was the piece that got him back. And then with the other moves with Riley and Andrew, I mean, our offense, it really came down to that playoff game in Buffalo where we scored 5 goals. And our offense struggled most of the year. We knew we had to make some changes. And in our league, you get offensive talent one of 2 ways. You draft it or you get it as free agency. And we haven't had a lot of success in the free agent market lately. Because it's tough. You got 15 teams going after 1, 2, 3 assets. So, it's a difficult process. But so we decided to get some high picks, and we've targeted this draft for quite a few years. We really like the talent base, and we were thrilled with our draft. And in fact, at 4, 7, and 17, those 3 players we acquired, we had them in our top 7 from our board. So we thought, okay, we're going to get one of these 3 guys. That's kind of how it worked out. And the dominoes fell and we got all 3. So we're completely thrilled with our draft. And now they're all going back to school for a year. So it's sort of managing the program and the group, until they get here. But we still have, Doug Jamieson and arguably one of the best defenses in the league. And we're going to be different. We're going to be more athletic offensively. And it's kind of exciting to see how that plays out.
You kind of answered my question, which was going to be if this team is better than last year's playoff team, why? And you just laid out some of the reasons. So I'll just point out the dates on the screen here for everybody watching that the season opens on December 3rd. The home opener, though, at MVP Arena is December 17th. Against Rochester. Coach, did you get to Saratoga Racecourse when you moved into town, or was it such a blitz to get into the house that you didn't have time to do something like that?
I didn't, but we did have our year-end party there last year when we were, whenever that was, April, May, right before the playoffs.
Okay.
So one of our owners is involved with the racing community and has a place up there. So we had our year-end party there. When I got into Albany, it was crazy. I think I had to go back out west once, and then I was back in Ontario, and then I was back here, and I was back in Ontario. So I was unsettled for about a month. So I'm kind of into the groove now. But I'll get back up there for sure. I love the area. It's a great little spot.
In the last minute or so I have with you here, is there a place that you find yourself eating more than others?
Home right now.
That's good. That's good.
Which, when you say more than others, and my wife talked about this, we're like, wow, we haven't spent much money because we normally like to go out and whatever. But it's been a little frantic getting the house ready, getting the kids organized into all their sports. So we haven't really got one place I went to with the owners was the Black and Blue, I think.
So, yeah. Good spot.
Yeah, went there, really enjoyed that location. But we haven't, we're not on our normal date night pattern yet. So if you've got some suggestions,
we'll send you a list.
Ashley can send it my way through the Twitter or text.
Yeah, we'll definitely send it.
Neither of us cook. So yeah, we've got the restaurant scene down. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'll be helpful. Yeah, we need that.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And hopefully we'll get to see you soon. I'll see you at training camp, the open house at the end of October, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. We will be there for that, so we'll see you then. And you'll have all your guys in there then?
We will. Yeah, everybody will be at camp, and it's upon us. I mean, it's 2 weeks, and it's exciting. I mean, training camp's always exciting, but when you make a lot of changes and you're sort of trying to mold something that you didn't have before, it's going to be exciting.
Will you need names on the front of helmets?
I don't think so. I think I've got enough familiarity, and I drafted them and traded for them. So hopefully, I should be able to know who's who.
All right, Coach. Thanks for the time, man. Like Ash said, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Awesome. Anytime, guys. Thanks.
Glenn Clark, the head coach of the Albany FireWolves. The season starts early
An Albany
December.
resident. Or a
How about
Capital
that?
Region resident, at least.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I thought there'd still
George
be
told me that.
crazy commute. Good for him.
Yeah.
That'll make life a lot easier.
Very much so. Yeah. George told
good.
me that a couple weeks ago, which is awesome.
You'll see more of him. I think the media in general will see more of him now that he's around as much as it sounds like he will be in the area. Very cool stuff. Okay, good. That's each and every week here on Onorato Company. Follow the pack with the Albany FireWolves. Before we get out of here, I've got stuff to do. Have you seen our segment with Kip Moore? It was on last week's show. He is coming to the Capital Region Thursday, October 27th. A good way to get tickets right there, EmpireLiveAlbany.com. If you haven't seen the segment, you can find it now on News Channel 13's Facebook and Twitter, where all of our content lives. The NBA season, I am ready for this. I love basketball. I love the NBA. I will try to see some of these games on Tuesday. I mean, really, the one I want to watch is the late one. I won't see any of that one.
I know.
But can I stay up late on a Wednesday and see a little bit of Herter? Maybe. He makes his Kings debut Wednesday night. It's a 10 o'clock tip against Portland.
Sleeping for 3 hours, wake up to watch, and then back to bed.
Yeah, that may be exactly what happens. But the NHL season is underway. The NBA season is right around the corner. It's the confluence of all four major North American sports. This is maybe the best time in professional sports.
Yeah, and you're in the playoffs for baseball, which just makes it all the more exciting. I'm not a big NBA girl, you know that. I'm way more about college hoops, so I'm fired up about college hoops starting in 3-4 weeks. Technically, I think like the official start of games, but teams are practicing, so I'm fired up for that. I'm excited to see Kevin Herter in purple and black. I will certainly get a new t-shirt jersey. You'll like the black and purple better than the red as well.
You know it. There's no doubt about that.
And I wouldn't mind getting to California for a little NBA hoops action.
Jeff Casey wants to remind us, hey, we got preseason hockey in Glens Falls. You were up with the Adirondack Thunder earlier in the week as well. That season is upon us also.
Got a lot of Clifton Park power on that team.
How about that? Yeah, there are college football games to pay attention to here, people. 6 of them pitting a top 25 team against a top 25 team. They are scrolling on the bottom of your screen. Syracuse's
team is in that. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Number 18. It's unbelievable. It's shocking stuff.
Okay, so is Syracuse NC State your can't-miss game of the weekend?
I mean, from my perspective, I guess, but like, who doesn't want to see Tennessee, Alabama? I want to see Ray's Tennessee Volunteers knock off the Crimson Tide. So I'm not into Penn State, Michigan so much just because Oklahoma State, TCU, I'd also be interested in. But yeah, from a perspective of it's the biggest game in Syracuse since 2001. Yes, I want to see Syracuse and NC State.
Yeah, it's funny. I would sign up for Alabama, Tennessee, obviously. USC, Utah is interesting to me. Like, is the Pac-12 going to get a playoff representative? And if they are, USC needs to win that football game. So that one has my interest as well. A lot of good stuff happening this weekend with the baseball playoffs, NFL, and of course, college football. Our thanks to Glenn Clark and Jeff Vukelic for jumping on the show here this week on Onorato Company. And thank you always for watching.